Finally, first trip after the lockdown, and we're going to Scotland. In this video, we drive along some of the most scenic roads. We're gonna push Bianca uphill and downhill. We will visit some Caribbean lookalike places, and we're going to experience the actual Scottish rain. We're in good company with Maura and Michelle, who just moved here from Singapore.
We left London this morning and we are on a train. Soon we will cross the border and we reach Edinburgh.
We arrived in Edinburgh and we decided to do a tour with a local guide named Gareth, and he took us around telling us very interesting stories about the city.
One of the really interesting things about Edinburgh is that we have these two sides to the city. We have an old town, but we also have a new town. The new town side of Edinburgh was built just over 250 years ago, so the new town is not quite as new as people expect. The old town, paradoxically, having been the oldest part of the city, grew and developed over about 900 years or so. The paradox of that being so old is that by the 19th century, the buildings were 300 or 400 years old, the houses were collapsing and killing people in their beds, so the Victorians took the opportunity of knocking down most of the old town in order to rebuild it from the ground up. So in Edinburgh, it means we have a new town that's not as new as people expect it to be, but we also have an old town that's not as old as people expect it to be, and most of the old town is actually newer than the new town.
We are on the Royal Mile, which is the main road in the old Edinburgh. Here you can find all the most important historical buildings.
Edinburgh is a city with many angles, layers and little gems that is a pleasure to discover on foot.
Now we walked out of Edinburgh, the city centre, and we're in Dean Village, which has retained its medieval feel.
And this summer, Edinburgh is going to have a very strange atmosphere. During August, ordinarily we have a whole series of festivals and events that draw people from all around the world. This summer, none of that is happening. So it feels rather strange that the streets are rather empty, rather fewer visitors than we would normally be having. But it means that you get a bit more space to enjoy the city and not have to fight your way through the crowds everywhere that you're trying to go.
We left Edinburgh and we rented a couple of cars to go to the Trossachs. But before that, we stopped and visited the Stirling Castle.
Stirling Castle is famous and is considered very important because of its position. It strategically controls north and south, being right in the middle of it. The area around here is famous for two big battles. One was fought by William Wallace, and it was obviously made famous by Braveheart, the film. And the other was fought by Robert the Bruce, and is the fields where it was fought, which are called Bannockburn, are just outside the town.
In the end, Scotland was never conquered by England. Around 1706, the two parliaments negotiated the Treaty of Union, which united them into one kingdom by the name of Great Britain. This was mainly due to economic reasons, as it gave Scotland access to the markets of England and English colonies.
When we reached the Trossachs, we were supposed to be doing a hike on the Ben Lomond, but it was raining so heavy.
Today we were supposed to take a hike at Ben Lomond over there, which is a high mountain, but obviously the weather is perfect and yeah, unfortunately there's rain today, and so we decided to go on a little cruise on the lake instead. So we're at Loch Lomond now, and it's really nice, even if it's raining.
We ended up not being able to do the hike, but also we ended up completely stranded from the hotel because there was a flood on few streets.
This car is bigger.
Yeah, but still.
We had a little bit of an issue tonight. The road was completely flooded, so we had to find a hotel in a town nearby that was reachable by car because many of the roads are now being completely flooded. We found this place and now we're trying to go to sleep.
Once we left the Trossachs, we went to Oban to catch the ferry to go to the Isle of Mull. So we're now on a ferry boat from Oban to Mull, and Oban is actually the main point that connects all the different islands. And due to COVID, unfortunately, we cannot leave the car.
Here at Tobermory, which is the main town of the island of Mull. It's a colorful little city with a population of about 1,000 people, and you can see at the background many cute little colorful houses and hotels. There are lots of restaurants, cute little pubs, there's a church, and the best part of Tobermory is a little distillery where you can go there for a little sampling of whiskey and just a quiet afternoon.
Whiskey is obviously one of the greatest products of Scotland, and it was mandatory for us to visit the distillery at this stage. Now we picked 2 pitted whiskies and 2 unpitted ones. Pitted means there not being any smoked cask, smoked malt, and the pitted one have a smoky flavor and quite distinct taste.
When we reached the Isle of Mull, we visited the Staffa Island and Iona, and then we also did a walk on a volcano.
So we took a little boat and went to the island of Staffa, where you can see the volcanic rocks that were formed from an old volcano and made this hexagonal shape, which was amazing. It's like out of this world. Seeing the island alone, exploring on your own, even for just an hour, is really, really worth the trip. And we also made a little trip to the island of Iona, where you can see the ruins of a restored abbey of St. Columba, where you can absorb some of the history of Iona. It's one of the ancient pillars of Christianity in the island of Scotland, and it's a very serene space. You go into there and it's like you're exported to another world or another era. A trip to Staffa and the island of Iona are definitely recommended.
This morning we came from Tobermory to visit Crater Loch. It's a volcanic little mountain that is here on the right, and it's got a very nice walk around it. It will be better with a sunny day, but it's still got a very beautiful view.
Fortunately, Guglielmo got a drone as a birthday present, and that meant that we had to try. It has been a very, very stressful situation. You could actually see the stress in Guglielmo's eyes. We're about to board the ferry and leave the Isle of Mull, and the direction is Inverness, and we're gonna go via Loch Ness. We are at the Urqhart Castle, one of the greatest castles in the whole of the Highlands, and it has been raided and sacked many times, as you can see, only the ruins still standing, and it's a fantastic viewpoint to try and spot the Loch Ness monster.
Driving in Scotland single-lane roads is actually quite tiring because it requires a constant concentration and focus.
Yeah, driving has been the best. You have got the type of roads that you find on a mountain, but you are pretty much always at sea level. I enjoy particularly here in the Isle of Mull, where there are single lane roads in which you have to be a bit creative.
I read somewhere that Scotland is a very underrated country because obviously, well, at least for the moment, there are not that many visitors here.
Obviously this holiday happens as the country is going out of lockdown, so coming to Scotland was perfect because we wanted to be in a place that wasn't too crowded and we wanted to explore the countryside of the UK.
The landscape here is incredible. The only thing that travelers need to be wary of is the weather. It can really be a hit or miss with the weather. It's either beautiful sunny days and clear blue skies and beautiful blue water, or you could be unlucky and have a series of rainy grey days.
During these strange times, traveling is still possible. It's an opportunity to explore different areas, maybe closer to home, preferably closer to nature. Now more than ever, we have to be mindful of our impact. We must protect the people we visit, strictly respecting a new set of rules. But despite that, we must not lose our ability to smile and enjoy the world. It may be a different world, but it's still the most beautiful that we have.